How to meditate. Ramana Mahârshi.
Bhagavan, do you recommend any special posture for meditation?
This depends on the mental attribute of the individual. There are no hard and fast rules.
Should meditation be practiced with eyes open or closed?
It can be done either way. The important thing is that the mind should be turned inward and kept active in its search. Sometimes it happens that when the eyes are closed, thoughts arise with great vigor. But on the other hand, it may be difficult to turn the mind inward with the eyes open. This requires effort and determination. The mind is pure by nature, but it is contaminated by the absorption of objects. The good thing is to keep active in its search without taking in external impressions or thoughts.
My mind is very unstable. What should I do?
Fix your attention on anything and keep it there.
I find concentration difficult.
Keep practicing, and your concentration will become as easy as breathing.
Is it necessary to control the breath?
Breath control is recommended for people who cannot control their mind directly. When the mind is controlled, the breath is controlled. There is no need to practice breath control. Mental control is sufficient. For example, the mind can slow down through breath control. However, this only remains as long as this control exists. When it is turned off, the mind is also free to continue wandering in the forces of tendencies.
So, Bhagavan, what is the best method?
It depends on the temperament of the individual. Every person is born with his or her own characteristics. What is easy for one may be difficult for another. There can be no general rule. There are many methods. You can practice inquiry into yourself, or if that does not appeal to you, you can meditate on the I am or some other theme. But you can also concentrate on a mantra. According to the capacity of the disciple, there are many options, but there is no more effective means than self-inquiry. The aim of meditation is to make the mind focused, concentrated on a single thought, and thus exclude the others. If you do this, that single thought eventually disappears, and the mind is extinguished in its source. As soon as you begin to meditate, other thoughts crowd in, gain strength, and try to overwhelm that single chosen point to which you are trying to cling. But this point must gradually gain strength by repeated practice. When it is strong and large, the other thoughts will flee. This is the battle of meditation. All methods except self-inquiry are practiced while retaining the ego. Thus, even if the mind subsides, it will rise again. Every kind of practice presupposes the retention of the mind as an instrument, so it cannot be done without it. Thus, the ego may transform itself into different subtler forms at different stages of practice, but it can never be destroyed. The attempt to destroy the ego or the mind by these methods is like a thief turning into a policeman to catch the thief that is himself. Asking the mind to kill the mind is like making the thief a policeman. He will go with you and pretend to catch the criminal, but nothing will come of it. Self-inquiry is the direct method to self-realization. It is the key to freedom. Turn inward. First, find the source of sustenance of the mind. Find out where it arises from. It is but a bundle of thoughts, and all of them arise from an I. By deep and constant inquiry into the nature of the mind, it will cease to exist. So, immerse yourself in consciousness by inquiring. Who am I? Dwell entirely on that. When there is nothing else, having destroyed all other thoughts, finally you yourself are destroyed and consumed. Just as a stick, which is used to stir the burning funeral pyre, is eventually consumed and turned to ashes, so you, which is used to destroy you, disappears. The mind is made up of thoughts, and the root of all is the idea of a self. Therefore, the mind is only the thought I. The question is, from where does this I arise? This is the search for wisdom. Where the I disappears, there the infinite arises. Just as a man dives to retrieve something that has fallen into the water, so one should dive into oneself with a strong, focused mind, controlling speech and breathing, until one finds the place from which the I originates. The question, who am I, serves in the search to find the origin of the ego. The inquiry that leads to self-realization is the inquiry into what this ego is. If one asks, who am I? Within the mind, the individual I collapses in shame, and immediately the reality manifests itself, the perfect absolute being. There may be 1,000 doubts, but there is none that doubts the existence of the doubter. Who is he? All doubts will cease only when the source of the questioner is found. There is no point in removing doubts. If you clear one, another will arise, and there will be no end to them. But if the questioner himself is rendered non-existent by seeking his source, then all doubts are over. The present state is a mere illusion. Its dissolution is the goal, and nothing else. All you need to do is to find out its source and remain there. All efforts should be directed towards removing the veil of ignorance. Thus, self-inquiry is the removal of the clouds that reveal the blue sky that was already there. As long as the ego lasts, effort is necessary. When the ego ceases to exist, actions become spontaneous. It is the battle of meditation, the constant practice that helps to bring about the gradual weakening of the ego. No one succeeds without effort. Control of the mind is not theirs by right. The few who have achieved it owe their victory to their perseverance. Sometimes glimpses of fulfillment are achieved before they become permanent, and in such cases, effort continues to be necessary. Effort is necessary until the final state. Until then, who you are must spontaneously reveal itself. Otherwise, happiness will never be complete.